Imagine a 200-foot tree pulling water from the soil all the way to the top every single day without a heart, a motor, or any mechanical pump. If you tried to suck water up a straw, physics would quickly stop you. Yet trees routinely move huge amounts of water upward, silently and continuously. The secret is that trees mostly don't push water from the bottom, they pull it from the top. That pulling force starts in the leaves through a process called transpiration. On the surface of leaves are microscopic pores called stomata. These pores open so the plant can take in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis and release oxygen. But when stomata are open, water inside the leaf can also escape as vapor. That water loss is transpiration, and it's the spark that drives the entire drinking system. Here's the key idea. When water evaporates from the leaf, it creates a tiny shortage of water in the leaf tissues. Nature doesn't like shortages, so water is pulled in to replace what was lost. And the pathway that replacement water follows is a set of internal tubes called the xylem, the tree's built-in plumbing. Xylem runs from the roots, up through the trunk and branches, into the leaves. Now comes the mind-blowing physics. Water molecules like to stick together. This stickiness is called cohesion, caused by hydrogen bonding. Because of cohesion, water in the xylem doesn't behave like separate droplets. It behaves more like a continuous, connected column, like a long rope made of water molecules. So, when a molecule of water evaporates from the leaf, it effectively tugs on the next molecule behind it. That molecule tugs on the next one, and so on. This chain reaction pull travels down through the xylem, right back to the roots. The result is a powerful upward pull created by evaporation at the top. Scientists call this the cohesion-tension mechanism, or cohesion-tension theory. Tension here means negative pressure, like suction or a mild vacuum inside the xylem. A widely used overview explains that most water transport in vascular plants is driven by negative pressure generated by evaporation from leaves. So, what are roots doing during all of this? Roots absorb water from the soil, mostly by osmosis. Water moves from the wetter soil into root tissues where the water potential is lower. Once inside, water enters the xylem and becomes part of that continuous water column, being pulled upward. Some people hear about root pressure and think that's the main engine pushing water up. Root pressure is real, and it can push water a little, especially at night or in smaller plants. But for tall trees, root pressure alone is not strong enough to lift water tens of meters. Root pressure is generally described as limited to relatively short plants when transpiration is low. What about capillary action? The same effect that makes water climb a thin tube. Capillary action helps a little at the microscopic scale, but it's not the primary reason water reaches the top of very tall trees. The heavy lifting is done by transpiration-driven tension plus water's cohesion. Trees also regulate this system carefully. Opening stomata increases transpiration and strengthens the pull, but it also increases water loss. So plants constantly balance gas exchange for photosynthesis versus water conservation. Hot, dry, windy days increase transpiration. Cool or humid conditions reduce it. That's why the tree's drinking rate changes with weather and time of day. There's also a real risk in this system. If the tension becomes too extreme, like during drought, the water column can snap. That snapping event is called cavitation. When cavitation happens, air bubbles can form in the xylem, and those bubbles can block water flow. The air blockage left behind is called an embolism. A simple teaching explanation describes cavitation as the water column breaking under high tension and defines embolism as the air bubble that remains. That might sound like a fatal flaw, but trees have strategies, lots of parallel xylem pathways, like backup pipes, and structural features that limit how far air spreads. So even if some pathways fail, others can keep water moving.